Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'll be looking into tropisms, which is from the survival and response topic from the A-level biology curriculum. So let's begin. So first, you need to know that organisms can increase their survival rate by responding to changes in their environment, which is basically the stimuli. So for example, when a plant gets the sunlight, it will be moving towards the sunlight. It grows towards the sunlight so that it can maximize photosynthesis, so that it can produce more sugars, and these sugars would be needed in metabolic processes in the plant. So this can in turn increase the survival rate of the plant. So in plants, what we have is growth factors. So these growth factors regulate the growth of the plant in response to a directional stimuli. So by directional stimuli, we just mean that the stimuli is coming from a certain direction. So for example, in this, it's coming from the right hand side. And you might remember the growth factor auxin from GCSE. We just look at IAA at A levels, which is just a type of auxin, so it's just a growth factor. So tropism. So how do we define tropism? So tropism is basically the growth of a plant in response to a directional stimulus. And we have positive tropism, which is growth towards stimulus, or we can have negative tropism, which is just growth away from the stimulus. Okay, so now just looking at indole acetic acid, which is also called IAA. So this is basically just a growth factor, as I've mentioned. It's just a type of auxin, and this is produced in the tips of the roots and the shoots. So it's the tips because this is where the growth occurs, and this influences growth. So it's causing tropism, because IAA just involves the growth of the plant in response to a directional stimuli. So first we'll be looking into phototropism. So phototropism can be defined as the growth of the plant in response to light. So photo just means light, and tropism would be the growth of plant in response to a stimulus. So this would be phototropism. And what we see is that in the shoots of the plant we observe positive phototropism, and in the roots we would observe negative phototropism. So just looking at a picture, what you can see is the shoots are growing towards the sunlight, towards the light, whereas the roots are growing away from the light. So this would be negative phototropism. So phototropism at shoots. So you need to know the mark points of how the phototropism occurs, especially at shoots. So what you need to know first, the IAA, which is synthesized in shoot tips, it would diffuse into the growing regions of the plant. So the growth occurs at the shoots, so this is where they will be located. And what happens then is the light. So light would cause the movement of IAA to the shaded side. So for now, because the light's coming from straight above, you can see that IAA are distributed equally. But when the sun moves around, when the sun goes to a certain side, the light would cause movement of the IAA to the shaded side. So as you can see now, because the sunlight, the light's on the right side, it would cause IAA to move away from the right side into the left side, into the shaded side. So this is what would happen when we have light coming through. And this basically just causes the concentration of IAA to increase on the shaded side. So there's more IAA on the shaded side than the side which has more light, so the right hand side in this case. So what this does is it stimulates the elongation on this shaded side. So what we mean by elongation is it basically makes the cells longer. So what would happen then is that the shaded side would grow faster, and it causes the shoots to bend towards light. So because the cells are growing faster on this side, there would be more growth on the left side, on the shaded side, and that's why it would cause the shoot to bend towards the light. And as you can see, we would be the shoot would be more exposed to the sunlight now, and so there would be more photosynthesis occurring. So now looking at geotropism or gravitropism. So this is basically the growth of a plant in response to gravity. Now it's gravity. So what we observe is that shoots have negative geotropism and the roots have positive geotropism. So as you can see, what we have is the shoots are growing away from gravity. So they're showing negative geotropism, whereas the roots are growing towards gravity, downwards, so they are showing positive geotropism. So now looking at how geotropism occurs. So first we have IAA, which is synthesized in the root tips this time. So it's not the shoot tips, we're talking about the root tips here. So the IAA diffuses into the growing region, and gravity causes the IAA to move towards the underside. So we have the upper side here, and then we have the underside, and gravity causes IAA to move towards the underside. So the side which would be at the bottom, and this would mean that there would be more IAA on the underside, so the concentration of them increases on the underside. And in this instance, so in geotropism, instead of stimulating elongation, what it does is it inhibits elongation on the underside. So what this means is the upper side would grow faster than the underside, and it causes the roots to bend towards gravity. As you can see in this case, so we have more IAA on the bottom side, on the underside, and we have less of them on the upper side, and this causes the elongation to be inhibited on the underside, and that's why the root would bend towards gravity, so it's growing downwards. Now this can be useful to, for example, find water and nutrients which a plant needs. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did like this video, don't forget to subscribe to see more of these, and you can watch my recent videos by clicking on the links popping up. Thank you.